A lot of psychologists and philosophers share this really profound realization that reality itself actually has no inherent meaning built into it. None whatsoever. Think about that. It means whatever you're currently attached to, a job, a person, a specific outcome, it only has power over you because you actively believe it does. We constantly project importance onto things. So we're going to explore how shifting our consciousness and letting go of these projections can literally transform how we carry ourselves and ultimately how we find peace.
Now, you might be thinking, what if detaching actually feels really scary? And yeah, it's a very real phenomenon. Letting go sounds great in theory, but stepping into the unknown, it can be terrifying. You might realize you've been clinging to a specific dynamic, maybe even a toxic one, simply because it's familiar. Your mind and your neurons are literally wired to view reality a certain way. So if detaching feels scary, it's just because you're letting go of those old familiar energies and stepping into a completely new version of yourself. It takes a lot of energy to release something you've known for so long. That initial fear, it's completely natural.
To really grasp why it's so scary, we kind of need to flip our traditional understanding of attachment completely upside down. It's not actually about love or passion. Deep down, attachment is just a subconscious nervous system regulation mechanism. We tend to think we're attached to a person or a job title, but the reality is we're attached to the belief that this external thing will regulate our internal nervous system. We use these attachments as a survival tool so we don't have to feel uncomfortable emotions. Our subconscious basically says, hey, if I have that status, I can feel safe inside. We attach to the external just to control the internal.
Attachment is the root of all suffering. Take a second to let that ancient wisdom from the Buddha really sink in, because it perfectly mirrors the biological reality we're talking about. When we cling to an outcome to regulate our nervous system, we are literally fighting reality. We create this massive internal resistance because we're constantly trying to force the outside world to make us feel safe. And that resistance, that never-ending battle to control everything around us, that is exactly where our suffering begins.
Think of it like a cork bobbing on the ocean. Left alone, it floats naturally, right? Now imagine pushing that cork deep underwater and holding it there. If you want it back on the surface, you don't have to reach down, grab it, and forcefully drag it up. All you have to do is let go of the pressure. Stop holding it down. Your arm's probably tired anyway. Just let go and the cork naturally pops back up to the surface. It's the same with us. You don't have to aggressively attain peace or enlightenment. You already are the peace and joy you're looking for. Suffering only happens when we try to micromanage our nervous system by holding that cork underwater. When we detach and let go of control, our natural state of peace just floats right up.
To see why we create this resistance, imagine a 2-foot wide line taped on the floor right in front of you. If I asked you to walk that line, you'd do it without thinking, calm, natural, zero effort. But what if we took that exact same 2-foot line and suspended it between 2 skyscrapers, 1,000 feet in the air? Suddenly, your nervous system goes into overdrive. You are in full-on survival mode, experiencing intense fear and massive attachment to the outcome. The actual task hasn't changed at all. It's still just walking 2 feet, but the perceived risks have been completely artificially heightened. And that brings us to the real issue here: excess importance. By putting that line up on a skyscraper, we drastically increased its importance. In life, when we desperately need someone's approval or a specific outcome, we're basically putting that thing on a massive pedestal. And here's the catch: when you put something on a pedestal, you're no longer equal to it. You project all this excess importance onto it, which instantly triggers your survival fear and creates deep resistance. Ironically, that exact resistance blocks you from experiencing the natural flow needed to get what you actually want.
So the question is, how do we dismantle this excess importance? How do we let that cork naturally float back to the surface? Well, there's a very practical 3-step framework for processing this uncomfortable energy instead of fighting it. It's all about pulling your energy away from the external world and directing it inward. Those 3 steps are notice, welcome, and heart coherence.
Step 1 is to simply notice what comes up. When you feel that urge to control an outcome, just notice where that attachment physically lives in your body. But here is the secret: you have to do this from a place of absolute neutrality. Imagine you're just sitting on a park bench, quietly watching people and birds go by. You don't try to control the wind or stop the birds, right? You just watch. You have to adopt that exact same neutral observation with your thoughts. Don't label them as good or bad. If you panic and think, oh no, I'm having a bad thought, I need to stop it, you're just creating more resistance. Just sit on the bench, observe the feeling without reacting, and let it be.
This flows right into step 2, which honestly can feel a bit counterintuitive. Once you notice the feeling, you have to actually welcome it in. Since our attachments are protective mechanisms meant to keep uncomfortable emotions away, instead of blocking the emotion, just allow that underlying sensation to come right in. A really powerful technique is to actually imagine and accept the exact opposite of what you want. Say your biggest fear is being alone forever. Literally imagine being alone forever. Sit with it. When you stop pouring fearful energy into avoiding an outcome, it completely loses its power over your nervous system. By welcoming the worst-case scenario, you prove to yourself that you can handle the fear, and that dissolves the attachment's grip on you.
Finally, step 3 is all about heart coherence. Once you've processed the fear by welcoming it, physically focus your energy inside your heart space. Notice how it feels when you intentionally create an energy of appreciation and connection. The big takeaway here is that everything you believe the external world needs to give you, you already possess. You already have the ability to feel connected, grateful, and at peace right now. You don't need a specific person or status to grant you permission to feel those things. Detaching is really just waking up from the illusion that external things hold the key to your internal state. To see just how much of our reality is built on projected meaning, think about a high school debate team. A student might have to argue the pro side of a topic in the morning and the con side of the exact same topic in the afternoon. They don't choose the side, which, by the way, is excellent training for Thanksgiving dinner, but what they learn is that you can build a totally logical case either way, depending on the perspective you take. Both sides can seem completely true. It just goes to show that nothing in life has a fundamental built-in meaning. The meaning of the person you're attached to, or the outcome you're stressing over, it's really just the case you happen to be arguing in your head right now. And because you are the one assigning the meaning, you have the total power to change it. This brings us to reframing the past. When you consciously give a past hardship a new meaning, it completely clears out the old energetic blockages tied to it. Let's say you dealt with a highly controlling step-parent growing up. If you reframe that difficult situation not as a lasting trauma, but as the exact catalyst that sparked your personal awakening and led to your life's work, the entire energy of your past transforms. When you lower the importance you placed on the pain and assign it a meaning of growth, you free up your energy to actually flow in the present. So you're now aware that you are the architect of your own internal reality. You have the power to take things off the pedestal, to decrease their importance, and to stop holding that cork underwater. You have a choice in how you view the past and how you regulate your own nervous system. You no longer have to rely on the external world to dictate your peace of mind.
Which leaves us with one final thought to chew on as you go about your day. If reality truly has no inherent meaning, what meaning will you choose today? Thanks for spending time with us. Catch you next time.